The Cushing Lecture will be given by General Stanley McChrystal, who is widely credited with turning around the NATO effort in the Middle East. There is probably no better way to epitomize a lifetime of service than by being a soldier and dedicating oneself to the military. General McChrystal was at the pinnacle of his specialty, but then, as we all know, he ran afoul of the Commander-in-Chief and resigned from the military. And since then, he has spoken and written quite eloquently about his insights into what he learned both from his many years of service and from his departure from the military. And we look forward to hearing what he has to say and to learning from his experiences and his insights. On Sunday afternoon, the Young Neurosurgeon Forum will feature the Osler Lecture. And this year, we're delighted that Fred Meyer from the Mayo Clinic has accepted to give this talk. Fred is currently the Dean at the Mayo School of Medicine, and despite all his many administrative and clinical duties, he has told me that his first love is teaching. So we look forward to an outstanding lecture from a true neurosurgical educator. Sunday afternoon will also feature Arnie Fielkow, who may not be known to many people outside of New Orleans, but at the time Katrina struck, he was employed by the New Orleans Saints football team. And he was one who spoke out most vocally against some tentative plans that may call for just moving the team out of New Orleans altogether to another city. Now, a sports team may not sound like much, but when your city has been devastated, you need something that everyone can rally around, from the wealthiest and most prosperous people in town down to the people at the bottom of the socioeconomic ladder. So Arnie became a very popular figure there. Now he's back in New Orleans, and we're delighted that he can come and give us his perspective on how the city came back after Katrina. Something different this year is that the Eisenhower Lecture will be given Monday morning at the beginning of the plenary session. So we are delighted that Angela Duckworth will be the Eisenhower Lecturer. She is a psychologist at the University of Pennsylvania who has written and researched quite a bit about grit, which seems to be the secret ingredient to success. It's not how smart you are or how many friends you have or any connections you have. It really is just the ability to gut it out and persevere and do whatever it takes for you to meet your goals. I think that's something a lot of neurosurgeons can relate to. So we look forward to hearing from Dr. Duckworth at the Eisenhower Lecture on Monday morning. Tuesday morning, the Roten Family Lecture will be delivered by Dan Pink, who has written extensively on what motivates people. And he has some interesting thoughts that it's not money. Once you make enough money, then giving someone extra doesn't really motivate them. But really, it's your own intrinsic motivation. You know, why do children spend a lot more time working on puzzles and problems and playing than adults do? It's because children just have the sheer love of the project. And that's important as we retool our workforce and get away from the traditional assembly line, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. type of job, and get into a more creative economy where smartest employers are going to be bidding for workers because they can offer them the opportunity to do what they want, work that's very fulfilling and very meaningful, not necessarily the job that gives them the most money. And that ties in perfectly with this meeting's theme of the privilege of service. On Wednesday, we're going to hear from Dr. Merwyn Bagan, who is not only a past president of AANS, but he is the most generous benefactor to NREF. So at a time when most neurosurgeons would have recognized they had a productive career and they would retire and go fishing or play golf every day, Merwyn and his wife went to Nepal to build neurosurgical infrastructure there, and giving up the creature comforts of life here in the United States for staying in a simple small cottage for several years. I can't think of a better example of serving one's fellow man to what Merwyn and his wife did. And joining Merwyn will be Mike Haglund from North Carolina, Duke University, who has stepped up and been very involved in Uganda, not only delivering health care to that part of the world, but also in building infrastructure with formalized education system and a type of certification process, things that will continue to make sure that the good work he and others are doing will continue for many generations to come.